Welcome back to F&T Skids. Here's a real quick video on how to do the rear wheel bearings on a Ford Falcon. This is for an AU, but it'll probably be the same for a BA Falcon and applicable to other models as well. So this is on a live axle Ute. There is apparently a slight difference in the wheel bearing size between the sedan and the Ute according to the parts drops. So make sure you're aware of that when you go into order your new wheel bearing. First step, jack up the back, chuck a tire under for safety. There's this little screw here. This can be a little tricky to remove sometimes. Having an impact driver can make this really easy. I already have the brake caliper off, but using a 15mm spanner, there's two bolts at the back here, one there, one there. Take the caliper off, try to have it rested on something so there's no stress on the brake lines. From there you're going to remove the brake disc. Now this might need to be wobbled a little bit just to get it past the handbrake. They can get a little sticky on the inside here. I'm filming with one hand, so I'll be back in a moment. Now that you've got access to the hub, using the larger one of the holes here, you're going to rotate that around and look for these hex sockets here. Now with these sockets here, just be really careful not to strip them out. They can be bloody tight. If you round those out, you're going to have a very bad day. Now there's four here. There's one there, one there, one there, and one there. Once those are removed, what you're going to do is you're going to use a crowbar. I just got my screwdriver here at the moment. Going to use a crowbar and you're going to pry out the hub here. So this will bring the whole axle up. You're going to pry out the axle here and you'll feel it go pop, and then it will just slide all the way out. This is on the other side here. I've already popped this one out. Put one of the screws back in just to hold the backing plate on so it's less annoying. There's an inner ring in there. Should be relatively easy to get out with your fingers. Hold the bearing chase out, put a glove around it, pop it back in. This is going to stop any oil dripping out. This is what the axle looks like when it's been pulled out. And these are the bearings here. So on this one here, you can almost hear it. It's very grindy in there. Basically what we're going to do from here is we're going to take an angle grinder to this and this piece here. Now you got to be really careful you don't cut into the axle here, don't damage the backing plate here or the ABS sensor thingamabob. So we just want to cut through here just enough that we might be able to pry it apart and separate that. Alright, so be careful to not do what I just did there. That shouldn't affect it too much, it's quite shallow, but you can see how this is kind of popped off here. So once that's popped off, that can just slide all the way up. Just got to trim that little bit there. So everything's removed from the axle, and what we're going to do is we're going to get this really clean. This needs to be free from all like little bits of rust, dirt, whatever's on there. And then we're going to give this part here where the seal sits light sanding just to clean that. Always make sure that you apply some grease just to the inside of a new seal. And then the seal, if you look for the metal ring on there or the concave side of it, that goes towards the diff side. So it should slide in like that. Okay, just get some grease on there. When you're putting this on, try your best not to rub it along the sides of the axle. I'm going to pack that with more grease just because really. I'm going to show you how to get it on with the press. Okay, so the bearings and the locking ring are much easier if you've got a press. You can, however, do it without a press. If you don't happen to have a press, put the bearings on and then use a tube that goes over the top of the axle, and you can just tap it down with a hammer. So that's one way to do it. Obviously if they have quite a long tube, that it can be done. Now with the locking ring, this one here can be a little bit trickier. It's a very tight fit. You can use those aerosol cans that spray air, turn them upside down and spray it directly onto the metal. That will freeze the metal here and make it shrink ever so slightly. And then you take your locking ring and you heat this up. You can do it with a blowtorch, you could set it on an element, put it in the stove, whatever you want to do, but heat this up. Keep this really cold, and then very quickly you want to drop this on. But yeah, I kind of like to do it with a press if I've got one. Cool, that's all seated home. Now with this, I'll just give this one final clean. Just make sure there's absolutely no dirt or grit or anything in there. Also give it a little bit of a clean to the inside where you slide the axle in. The insulation is the reverse of taking it out. So that's how you do the wheel bearings. I hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments and check out my other videos for more car stuff.